good times.
Okay.
Now, they might not have been long good period of time, but they were there, and they just dwell on that.
Okay.
And
So
if you
that's
don't
where you
have
get your picture
photographs,
too? Because I have no
Huh?
photographs.
all right, and if you don't have photographs, you can still do the same exercise and use your thoughts, your memories. Go back, go back, go back. Now, back to this. All right, does that satisfy you?
Mm-hmm.
I know you had trouble with seeing, but time travel is not a matter of sensing. It's a matter of just, I mean, you don't have to sense anything. You see it. All right, so anyway, go to bed as that little baby and just cuddle up in those thoughts as you cuddle up on the mattress and the blankets around you. Goo goo gaga, thumb in mouth tight, wonderful, oblivious, not a care in the world sleep. Now, within a few weeks, tops, you're going to start feeling better. You're going to have a little more spring in your step, the same spring that you had 2 years previous. So, discard that 2-year-old back picture and start from the next one. You're now 2 years younger in thought, in feeling, and that will catch up to your looks. And you just go backwards all the way to the baby. And when you feel that other picture, say 6 years past the one that you've been first working on, when you have that same feeling, then discard that picture. You don't want to stall there, and you don't want to look old or feel old. Get rid of it. And then, anyway, you are literally putting your hands on that great spinning. There's a word for the wheel. You know, it's got a weight on it, and once you get it going, that weight keeps it going like crazy. I don't know the name of it, but it's a flat wheel. No tires or anything, and you're just sitting there. But anyway, almost like a Folsom. It takes trouble to get it going, and frankly, the trouble is called birth. All the aches and pains of getting out of that dang canal is troublesome. So it takes trouble to get that wheel first started spinning because it's a big, heavy wheel. But once it gets rolling along, hey, no effort at all. And eventually you get it up to great speed and you can back up and just watch it slowly come to an end, death. And so anyway, you just keep doing that and you will actually start looking, feeling, and being younger. Looking it, as well as feeling it. And you can go all the way down to death from where you came in the first place, before you were conceived and growing in your mother's womb. So, beware. There is a time when you start applying the brakes to that now backwards running wheel. So you find balance. Say you want to stop when you were 16 or 23. Start applying the brakes. This time, take the picture, the baby picture away, and start when you were 2 years old. End when you were 2 years old. Go to sleep at that 2 years age. And then when that is complete, discard that picture and find the balance you want. And as you slowly letting the wheel brake in the proper area. Now, that wheel will move here a little bit forward and back. That's when you grab the picture and back it up. Oh, I'm starting to think like I'm growing old. So back it up again and stop by removing the baby picture. You know, the baby picture is the great pull leading you backwards. And what you used to look like when you started this whole thing in the first place is a great pull that starts you forward into aging. You find a balance. Now, I do know personally, I've talked personally to people how to do this, and I haven't seen either one of them in quite a while. But there's one young man, gosh, he got to be about 46 6 or 7 now. But the last time I saw him in a year's time, which would have been, he might have been about 43, 42, or 4. He looked like he was about 36 or a little bit less. And once a year, he'd go home to visit his parents. Well, in this year's time, he'd gone home and visited his family 3 times. And they were shocked each time he walked into the door. What is happening to you? It's not a matter of you have an age, it's a matter of you're getting younger. And basically the same thing with the female that I taught. Now, I know of one other in Russia that uses this method. I've never met her. She, at the time, looked like she was a raving 16-year-old beauty. And she was living with her grandfather. And people just, one of these beauties that men just lusted after, and they come over to see her. Grandfather was her husband. He hadn't reduced his age. She was almost, I think she was 3 years or 2 years younger than him in reality. But she was looking 16 and the guys were going nuts.
Well, they've proven this scientifically.
No, I didn't know.
Yes, they did. You've probably heard of Deepak Chopra,
Who?
Deepak Chopra.
The name is vague.
He's a physician. He's an
Yeah,
Indian physician. I mean, from India.
He's an MD. And he talks about what you're talking about. But
Not this particular technique.
Not the technique,
but
but
the idea
documenting it.
That people can...
Well, what they did is an experiment. And this experiment was done at Harvard. And they took a group of people in their 70s and they put them in a totally enclosed environment that had nothing in it but things from 20 years earlier in their life. The publications were there, the music was there, the furniture was there, everything, and they just cut them off from the world. And they put them in this environment for, I don't know how long.
It was only a week or 2.
It wasn't that long.
Yeah.
It was a short period of time. And they just said, we want you to think about everything about who you were, how you were 20 years earlier. Here's everything around you to remind you of this and be that person that you were 20 years ago. I forget how many people were involved. At the end of the period of time, they began to notice that these people, because they had kind of shrunk up, gotten shorter, they were growing. They were getting taller again. They were looking at, and they were measuring. These
There
are
was more of a
scientists.
spring in their lives. Huh?
These were scientists saying these people are growing.
Yeah. I mean, their vision improved.
Right.
Their fingers grew straighter and longer. I mean, it was astonishing. It was astonishing.
All right, so it matches with the, Jack, I say, the concept, old means
Oh.
pain, crippling
It's
arthritis.
all up here.
It's all
Hey,
here.
I'm curious. Being that I am the way I am, did they grow hair?
That I don't remember.
I don't remember that.
Dang.
I don't remember that. But yeah, well, he'd like to know too.
How about teeth, huh?
But I mean, it was a
Yeah.
very short period of time that they noticed these people are growing, changing, visions, all these things are happening to them in this environment that they believe that they are 20 years.
And there were,
You know,
and there were lots of other subjective changes too that they got from interviewing them. They felt better, they felt
Oh, yeah.
sharper. But these were just perfectly objective things that the scientists could measure.
Yeah, they
These
could measure.
changes in their bodies and in their physiological responses. And then they took them out of this environment because it was just an experiment.
Right.
After all, it wasn't a community that they were living in. And not surprisingly, they all began to age. They began to go right back to the kind of chronological, their biological age went back to their chronological age within a short period of time.
Oh.
When they got back out into
This
the
is
world.
interesting because through my own observations, I have, over the years, I know people that love their antiques and so on and so forth. And a lot of people like mom or grandmother's, good feelings about being